Like to welcome everybody to the Township of Adelaide Metcalfe monthly council meeting. It's Monday, March the 4th at 7 p.m. and all council is here and accounted for, as well as staff. Could I have a motion to open the meeting? Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none, you've had a chance to read the minutes from the Adelaide Metcalfe Council meeting held on February the 20th, 2024. Are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, could I have a motion to approve those and adopt them as presented? Moved by Councillor Brody, seconded by Councillor Nordoff. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, under item 5 on our agenda tonight is the topping drain for 2023, the consideration of drainage works. And I'm going to turn the meeting over at this time to, I have to open the meeting first, sorry. Could we have a motion that the drainage consideration meeting to review the engineer's report for the topping drain 2023 be opened at 7:01 p.m.? Moved by Councillor Kingma, seconded by Councillor Brody. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. So now, Mike DeVos, we will have you from Spreet and Associates present your report. So I'll turn the mic over to you.
Good evening. Thank you. The report before you was prepared in accordance with sections 78 and section 4. 78 is to repair and improve an existing municipal drain. The majority of the project is an existing drain. There is a new portion that's being added under section 4, and that is the extension to the main drain upstream. So there is a bit of new municipal drain. There is a private tile that serves that particular area now. It just was never part of the municipal drain before. So the original drain was of a couple different ages. There was a 1979 portion and a 1971 portion. The requests were to replace the older 1971 portions, with the exception of the upper part of branch A and branch B. Those would be left in place and functioning. The owners didn't see the need to replace those parts. But the lower part of the main drain, that's 1971, would be replaced, and the lower part of branch A would be replaced, as well as branch D. The very lower part, that's the newer drain, would be twinned with the secondary pipe. So there would end up being two pipes side by side in the lower part. There was also discussions with the owners and recommendations, requests to incorporate and include in the project building what we call WASCOBs, which is an acronym for Water and Soil Control Basin, or berm. In this case, there's a number of them that are going to be built. The objective when we build these is to try to actually start holding water back. We do build berms on most tile municipal drains, but the purpose of the smaller berms or the regular berms would be to try to fill up the pipe, and then any excess will flow over the ground. But with a WASCOB, at that point, you're making the berm higher and actually trying to start to hold water back from going over the land. There is a fair amount of erosion in places, and the landowners wished us to try to attempt that through the construction of berms. The berms do require some maintenance from time to time. They're not completely self-sufficient, but comparatively to grass waterways or other types of things that could get constructed, they all have some maintenance. So we do caution the owners that there may be a little bit of erosion in the future, but it'll be significantly less than what you see, and that's why we're building it. We do provide inlets for the water. These new municipal drains have a larger design standard. The Ministry of Ag and Food has increased the design standard over time. So there is more capacity to actually transport more water than what the original drains would. And at that point, I think I'll stop and open up to questions.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So of any of the affected property owners that are here in the gallery, do they wish to speak to this? Okay, Don, do you mind you have to come forward and sit beside Mike, and he'll share his microphone with you, just because we have our drainage superintendent. He's on the Zoom call there.
Yes, my question is, okay, I went and I looked through all the blueprints and that, on the clay berm that you're building, or dirt berm. Okay, it's at about a cloth, right? Or like it goes over the top of it. like a, does it not?
Yes, some areas, do, some don't. Some, if we can build enough of the berms, we're gonna capture enough water that you won't see as much overflow. But on branch A,
Yeah.
we're not doing the upper part. It's a bigger watershed, so we have to allow for the overflow. Yeah, typically we would do it with a permanent matting.
Okay.
But there was some discussions with Andrew and I talked to Andrew as well, if we wanted to incorporate some blocks as well to try to give it a bit extra protection.
Mhm.
That could be a minor change at the time of construction for that. It would, the whole thing wouldn't be built of blocks, but
Yeah.
but the chute itself where the water goes from the top, the berm I think that you're referring to is quite a large drop vertically
Mhm.
on the backside. So there's been accumulation of topsoil over the years, the fence row. So that drop is significant. And if we want to use some blocks to do something to enhance the protection, then that could be added.
Okay, and also this cloth that you're talked about. Okay, is it got some kind of, like, what holds it in place? Is it concrete, like, is there a stone or whatever holds that cloth? Or-
Typically, they have a steel peg, a J peg.
Yeah.
So it's a shape of an upside down J. The peg itself is going through the plastic matting and the peg goes down into the soil to hold it down.
Okay,
We do key in the top end. We bury the top below the soil so that the water doesn't get underneath it.
right.
We've had good success with it. It does allow vegetation to grow through it. It is stable enough to be entirely functioning without grass. It is a permanent mat that would stay there forever. So it's designed and intended to replace the use of stone.
Mhm.
Stone has become more scarce and more expensive, and there's new technologies that can be put in place to do a similar protection for water. And so we typically would use that product in situations like this.
And will it be grassed down? And that
What happens is the topsoil gets put down, and then it gets seeded, and then the matting gets put on top of that. And then the
Okay.
grass will grow through over time. It will take some time for the grass to grow through. But all the ones that we've done do have the grass going through it eventually.
And one other question. The dirt. There's on the main drain, there's gonna have to be dirt brought in, right? They're not gonna take it from the existing land other than around the work site, right?
Yes, there is going to be some of the areas will be scalped in a half moon, half circle shape on the
Okay.
upstream side.
Yeah.
Scalped in and pushed in.
But you're not taking dirt from the field to fill that in, other than around that.
There is a spot on the Pasteur property where there is a bit of a high knoll on one side and the topography does not really allow us to properly do that.
Who's that field?
That would be on branch A, right where the main and the branch A join.
Okay.
So east of your
Oh,
property
okay,
down
okay,
there.
yeah, yeah.
There's
yeah,
a, there's a high knoll on the northeast side
Yep,
of the,
yep.
of the drain in there, and we're gonna scalp that material and move it down into the low run. The low run is quite defined, and there's not really an available area where we could to do that. But as far as importing some of the other material, I'll have to look at the estimate to answer that question, just to make sure.
So in my working fields, you won't be taking any dirt off other than around the.
On branch D. Station 243, yes, some of those areas will be like a half circle. Yes,
Just where the berm is going.
right, yeah.
Okay.
So there's on the drawings, they do show the limit of the area to be scalped. So the topsoil would be stripped. They'll use a dozer or an excavator to scrape the material to build the berm adjacent to it. We're not having to move it from a big distance, but most of it is material that's on the property.
And you're putting hickabobs in front of the berms?
Yes,
And how far are they gonna be from the berm?
They'll be right at the edge
Oh,
of the
they'll be
berm,
right at the edge of the
right
berm.
tight to it.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it does have a width to it, but typically we build them in the line of the cropping practice.
Yeah,
On occasion, we can't, and on those circumstances, we will build a flatter slope that can be cropped over with machinery.
Okay.
So there would be no grass at that point, but they tend to take a bit more material to do. I think there is one here again on the pasture property, but any of the ones that are in line with the cropping practice are narrow and grass.
and are they offset from they have to be offset from the main drain? Or how do they?
Typically, yes, we
Okay.
do want them offset. Most municipal drains aren't constructed directly in the lowest spot intentionally. They're off to the side, so there would be a connection with a small, short piece of pipe lead to the Hickenbottom catch basin.
Okay.
Okay, you good, Don? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else in the gallery have any questions or want to speak? No? Okay, is there anyone in the landowners in the gallery that want to add or remove their names from the petition? And are there any comments or questions from council? None? Okay. So seeing that we have nothing there, we have a recommendation that the engineer's report dated November 30th, 2023 for drainage works on the topping drain under section 4 and 78 of the Drainage Act be considered and provisionally adopted as presented by the drainage engineer. Moved by Counselor Kingma, seconded by Counselor McKinnon. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, could we have a recommendation that the drainage consideration meeting to review the engineer's report for the topping drain be closed at 7:12 PM and council reconvene into the regular session of council. Moved by Counselor Brody, seconded by Counselor Nordoff. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot, Mike. And anyone in the gallery, you're welcome to stay, but you're welcome to leave as well. If you're. Okay, next up on the agenda under correspondence, under 6A is upcoming conferences, seminars and meetings. The next council meeting for Adelaide Metcalfe is Monday, March the 18th at 7 PM. Then the next one after that is Tuesday, April the 2nd at 7 PM because the 1st of April, I believe, is Easter Monday. So the staff will get a long weekend. Recommended reading, CC number 1, Middlesex London Health Unit, the Board of Health meeting summary from February 15th, 2024. CC number 2, the Blue Water Recycling Association Board of Director highlights from February 15th, 2024. CC number 3, the Ministry of Energy, Ontario Keeping Energy and Housing Costs Down, dated February 22nd, 2024. CC number 4, the Community Futures Development Corp of Middlesex County is sponsoring International Women's Day Symposium and Luncheon in Lucan at the Community Center, and that's this Friday, March the 8th. I don't know if there's still tickets. I am planning on attending. I can report back. CC number 5, North Middlesex Lucan Biddulph Middlesex OPP Detachment Board appointee, Deputy Mayor Hodgins has been appointed to that position for now. And CC number 6, St. Clair Region Conservation Authority 2023 Annual Report. Action required under 6C, CC number 7, we have a resolution from the municipality of Tweed in reference to Enbridge gas resolution. Mike?
I move to support that.
Okay, is there a seconder for that? Seconded by Counselor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. CC number 8, we have a resolution from Osable Bayfield Maitland Valley Source Protection regarding free well water testing phase out. CC number 9, a resolution from Prince Edward County in reference to reviewing Ontario Works and Ontario Disability Support. CC number 10, a resolution from the town of Lincoln to increase funding for museums and libraries. And CC number 11, a resolution from the township of Perry to amend the blue box regulation. So could I have a motion to accept and file CC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11? Moved by Counselor McKinnon, seconded by Counselor Nordoff. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, under our next section, I better get out of this one here. Okay, we have just putting on notice, we have a notice of motion from Counselor Kingma regarding the tile loan annual maximum limit. And the notice of motion will be considered at the next regular meeting of council. So next up is item 7 on our agenda are the staff reports. And I will turn 7A regarding the Kelly Drain over to Andrew Neely at this time.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the Kelly Drain, Dortmund's Mulliferry Drive Drain, and Beatty Drain tender results. All three of them were issued the same day. Excuse me. And they were all opened on February 20th at 12 noon by myself and Nicole Lewis, Corporate Service Specialist. And with regards to the Kelly Drain, the engineer's estimate was $78,120, and the lowest bid was $77,436.78. And Bruce Poland and Sons Trucking was the lowest, and Spreet's office had confirmed that the numbers were accurate, and that is their recommendation. With regards to the Dortmund's Mulliferry Drive Drain, the engineer's estimate was $60,540 plus HST. Same goes for the Kelly Drain before this. And the lowest bid was AG Hayter Contracting at $56,425. Spreet's office also confirms the numbers on that. And with regards to the Beatty Drain, they were open the same day, and the engineer's estimate was $306,240 plus HST. Robinson Farm Drainage was the lowest at $279,264.50. And with regards to the financial impact, as standard, that the roads and lands be assess their portions as per the bylaws that are on file and the engineer's report that we have. Recommendation, as stated, council accepts Bruce Poland and Sons Trucking for the Kelly Drain as stated with the dollar figure. Council approved the tender received from AG Hayter Contracting for the amount on the Dortmund's Mulliferry Drive Drain, and that council approved the tender received from Robinson Farm Drainage in the amount stated for the reconstruction of the Beatty Drain. And I am open to any questions or comments at this point.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. I think just so we keep everything structured, we'll entertain these one at a time. So are there any questions before we take the recommendation on the Kelly Drain? The first one, are there any questions for Andrew on that tender? Okay, seeing none, we have a recommendation that council approve the tender received from Bruce Poland and Sons Trucking, Inc. in the amount of $77,436.78 plus HST for the reconstruction of the Kelly Drain. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Counselor Brody, seconded by Counselor Kingman. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Are there any questions for Andrew in reference to the Dortmund's Mulliferry Drive Drain and the tendering for that? Seeing none, we have a recommendation that council approve the tender received from AG Hayter Contracting in the amount of $56,425 plus HST for the reconstruction of the Dortmund Mullaferry Drive drain. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Nordoff, seconded by Councillor Brody. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Any questions for Andrew on the last drain, the BD drain? Seeing none, we have a recommendation that council approve the tender received from Robinson Farm Drainage in the amount of $279,264.50 plus HST for the reconstruction of the BD drain. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor McKinnon, seconded by Councillor Kingma. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time tonight, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next staff report is 7B. It's the 2023 council remuneration, and I will turn this over to our treasurer, Johnny Pereira.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. Through the council, fairly routine report. This comes to council every year, just outlining the expenses paid to council from the previous year. This report is a legislative requirement under the Municipal Act, and it's just to provide council and the public this information to be open and transparent. The recommendation is to receive the report as presented. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions for the treasurer from council? Okay, seeing that we have none, we have a recommendation that the 2023 council remuneration report be received for information only at this time. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Kingma, seconded by Councillor Nordoff. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next up is 7C on the agenda, the maintenance gravel tender results, and I'll turn it over to our Public Works Manager, Coulter Cahill. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. As council is aware, the Public Works Department undertakes preventative maintenance activities such as gravel resurfacing annually. Each gravel road receives a maintenance lift every 3 years on average, unless a section of road requires additional resources. This year, for our maintenance gravel tender, we received three bids. The successful bidder for the supply and application of maintenance gravel was Clarence Carter and Sons Limited, based on the lowest price per unit. Based on the bids received, we are under the budgeted amount of $220,000 by $10,000 and $10,600 plus HST. Recommendation is below, and I will open up for any questions. I actually will say that we are cheaper than we were last year on our maintenance gravel. Last year, I think we were $17.94 a ton, and this year we're $17.45. So it's nice to see.
Okay, any questions? I have a comment. I just want to thank the staff, starting with the budget committee for the work that they did to get the budget done in a timely fashion, because that puts us ahead of other municipalities that haven't passed their budget yet to be first out the gate to be able to realize cost savings. So I know 11th at $10,600 may not sound like a lot of money, but to a small municipality, these small wins every once in a while, when they all add up, it makes a significant difference. So thanks to you, Coulter, and your team, as well as Johnny and yours. Seeing we have no questions, we have a recommendation that council approve the tender received from Clarence Carter and Sons Limited in the amount of $17.45 plus HST per ton for the supply and application of maintenance gravel. Moved by Councillor Nordoff, seconded by Councillor Brody. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to go into closed session. So we'll return to the public when we're done our closed session. We have, do you want me to resolution? Sure, okay. We have a recommendation that council adjourn to closed session at 7:24 PM pursuant to section 2392 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss the following matters: litigation or potential litigation, including matters before an administrative tribunal affecting the municipality or local board, such as a servicing agreement between Adelaide Metcalfe and Strathroy Caradoc. We have 2 items to look at in closed session under both those categories. So could I have a mover and a seconder to go into close? Moved by Councillor Kingma, seconded by Councillor Nordoff.